Hi everyone, and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I have got a project of working on a solid wood door. We've got this over 100-year-old house, and some of the doors in the house had been changed at some point to plywood hollow core doors. We're trying to get everything back to as close to original as possible. I was not able to find actual antique doors, but solid wood doors is quite a step further than what we had. Let me show you what's going on with this door. So with any store-bought door, something that's not bought with a door jamb, and you're just buying a replacement slab door, you may have to cut and trim. So the best thing I can tell you to do is have an awesome track saw, which we don't have. We have a skill saw. We probably should have replaced the blade before we started, but that being said, we started. So this door needed to be trimmed. We have 3 doors total. 2 of them need to be trimmed at the bottom. Sometimes you have to take some off the top or bottom if you already have a hole drilled out for your handset, because you don't want to have it reel off, because with a panel door, you want to basically have it equal. You don't want that door handle so low to the bottom of the door. So what I was talking about with the saw blade, my husband started trimming here, and he had a straight clamp, a guide clamped on this side, and the saw blade wandered. It wanted to go where he didn't want it. Well, we really like Durham's wood filler, but the trick about Durham's wood filler is you have to mix in your stain while the Durham's is wet to get a color match on your wood. There are wood putties that are pre-stained and colored, but you can see Durham's is kind of a manila envelope or vanilla envelope color. And we tried to put some stain over the top of it just to see if it would take once it was dry, and it did not. So we bought a new saw blade and fixed up our cut, but now we have to fix this. The whole door was already pre-stained when we bought it, but the opposite side had a lot of splatters and splotches on it. So I did a little bit of prep work on the other side, and I'm going to show you that same process on this side. So the first thing you want to do is to scuff sand the surface. If you have ever done like furniture refinishing, furniture flipping, how people are doing, this is a very high grit sandpaper. I believe I'm working with a 400 grit. I just want this stain to bond to this surface without scratching up the whole finish coat. Now, that being said, somebody had this in storage and there are minor scratches in it, but you don't have to worry about that with this product. How I mentioned about splatters and whatnot, there's a lot of this going on. Somebody was doing another project nearby. All of this is going to be hidden and covered up because I'm not just using regular stain, I'm using gel stain. Now, I have used in furniture refinishing another product called General Finishes Java gel stain. It was real popular 5-10 years ago. And these other companies such as Varathane, Minwax have come along, and Ipswich Pine is kind of a go-to standard color. It leaves a nice tone of browns without oranges and yellows, and it will tone this down a bit where you see it's a little bit more golden. I think that they probably used a color called Golden Pecan. It's very similar to that. So I'm just going over, scuff sanding everything, and then we'll give it a good wipe down to collect the dust. You can take your shop vac over it if you like, a tack cloth. This is not super fussy work. I'm not like refinishing an old, antique piece of furniture. I have done that in the past as well. It was one of my very first woodworking projects, which is why I know how to do this. Now, if you live in like a 1950s ranch, Cape Cod, where they had lots of oranges, gold tones in slab doors, that was one of the first applications for these lighter duty hollow core doors. This gel stain is perfect for that because it's basically like paint. And instead of having the wood grain showing, you're kind of mimicking that wood grain with brush strokes from your brush. So we are going to use a paintbrush to apply our stain in sections at a time to make sure that it's not drying on us as we go. So a lot of times I like to work in very small sections here, not overlapping. So let me finish getting this scuff sanded and I'll show you the application in just a moment. So if you've got one of those old houses with hollow core doors that you want to apply stain to, or gel staining doors, you can do it to your aluminum garage doors, steel garage doors. You can do it to wooden doors. It is very friendly to use interior and exterior. One thing that I have found with doing this process, you might want to see if this has been seal coated or polyurethane coated. So you can put a couple drops of water on it. If it puddles kind of on or beads up, it probably has a clear coat over it. So you might want to do slightly more scuff sanding to make sure you get some good adhesion, because the first guy that comes along with like a laundry basket going through a door, they're going to scratch off that surface layer. So that will just help ensure that it is bonded slightly more. The entire step-by-step process of me doing my hollow core doors is in a previous video from about 2 years ago. I will link it down in the description below, or put a little card up here on the side for you near the end of the video so that you can click on that to see how I transformed those old doors. So, a little bit of gel stain, and we're just going to brush it on in sections. Now, like I said, I am working on in sections. So I want to start right where that wood comes together there, and some slight overlap is okay. You don't have to worry about that. And this is a oil-based product, so you will need mineral spirits to clean your brush when you are done. Keep that in mind. Any kind of brush cleaner will work fine. So if you want a perfect line right here, you can just swipe your finger along or swipe a rag. And long, even brush strokes. So on the opposite side, when I worked on this, I let it dry for 2 days before flipping it. That virtually disappears. And I don't want it to look thick and gloppy like this. We're just kind of spreading the product out at this point and getting an application. It is going to dry tacky in a short amount of time. Good enough to second coat it a little later today, if needed, on this spot. So now I'm just going to wipe off any excess from my brush, and I want to drag that all the way across. Then it is mimicking the wood grain. The harder part gets into when you're working in the paneled sections. So if you're doing a garage door, like I said, the trick is keep going and working in sections. So now I will take my rag and wipe this off. Now that area will sit to dry, and I'll work on all my other cross sections before starting into my others. And that is a good way. You got to do the whole door to match, because with this brush you're getting that brush stroke as an artificial wood green appearance. And this is the hard part with the raised panel sections. It wants to collect in there. So we're paying special attention to those as we work. And right through here where the brush catches the edges. And on these other sections, I may not be looking for like a correction, like on that saw cut, but you want it to be even. And if you were to apply this with a rag over raw wood, basically you put it on, wipe off the excess. In this case, we're leaving the excess to mimic that wood grain. All right, now I'm gonna wipe off my brush. Now you can get real fancy with this and you can mimic knots and all kinds of stuff. I actually did a bathroom countertop in this and it looked great. Now this little spot right here is a little thick and I'm not liking it right there. So we're just gonna pick that product up and move it out a little bit more. And same thing. I'm just gonna go here along the edges, wipe back where we don't want it. And I will allow this to dry before I start on my sides so that it doesn't pick that material up, because there's no reason in fighting that. And now it matches. All right, I'm just gonna wrap up my brush and I'll come back in about a half an hour after doing another project. This is a great thing to do when you have other projects going on, because I can go paint the trim on a window, wrap this up and come back to it and get those other sections coated. Now I know some people might say, just go buy another door. I picked these up, I think $30, $40 for the 3 doors. They're about $80 to $150 each, depending on if you get the door jamb. It is a weekend. This is a project that we want to get done. Live with your mistakes. It's not that big a deal. That little half pint can, this little size, will do a lot of projects. It doesn't take much because you're surface coating, you're not trying to solid coat, and you can put on as many layers of this. It comes in lots of different colors. As you want to get a deeper, richer tone, you could combine colors even. Rust-Oleum makes a product that people are using in furniture flipping that does a faux wood top. It's basically gel stain. It's the same thing at a much higher cost. So this is giving you that coverage over the wood filler and helping the door to become uniform and hide those imperfections. You don't see, like, if you use an orbital sander and got scratch patterns from your sandpaper, you won't see these scuffs and marks from it being basically a secondhand door. This is a new old stock door that somebody used and just never installed. There were date codes here on the bottom. I think these doors were maybe from the 90s. why put in white raised panel hollow core doors that your door stops are going to go through when you can just do this, or you can paint doors, and you can do lots of different colors. These coastal grays are really nice, you know, dark. You can do the Java is almost black, all kinds of different varieties. So we're living with a 100-year-old house, and we're trying to keep in that era by not doing modern updates to it. So inside this house, it's a 1950s house. This is what I was saying, all solid, hollow core doors with just a plywood veneer over, and you can see sections where the veneer is made and put together. There are little nicks and dings and scratches from people coming in carrying laundry baskets and having, like this particular house for years as a rental house or a large family house. There's little edges of veneer that are missing. That gel stain, you cover the whole thing and it looks like one uniform door. You can do updates to the doors, making them look raised panel by adding wood trim to it. If you're interested in that, watch my easy DIY kitchen cabinet makeover that I just posted, because it's the same concept. You're just adding strips of wood to give an updated look. And that is what I did here on this cabinet. And just inside of the bathroom, these were plywood type cabinets. Built in the 50s, I added this wood trim all the way around. And we're getting a more updated, different look than having this look like a 1950s home. It's gonna look more like a 2000s home when we're done. Okay, so with chances of rain today, I'm working in the garage so that I can close the door and keep any rain off of it. But I let this dry 24 hours. Normally, 6, 8, 10 hours. It dries pretty fast. It is time to do a seal coat, and I'm using polyacrylic. This is a water-based product, and I like this because easy soap and water cleanup. It is a satin finish, clear satin. It's not going to cause any yellowing or discoloring, and it brushes on really nice. So nice even long strokes. Just doing kind of the application, distributing at this point, and then I'll go over it in nice long strokes to make sure that there's no like odd overlapping strokes, no drips running down the sides, because it tends to, I don't know if you can see that or not, it wants to kind of beat up and run down. I've already done this edge, and if you want to do multiple coats, you can do multiple coats as it's drying, like with, say, a floor sealer. A floor sealer, you can come back within 24 hours and add another layer of polyurethane over the top. With these, they generally recommend letting it dry completely, doing a quick buff with steel wool, and then adding another layer of polyacrylic or polyurethane over the top. So just like that, we've got one length of the door sealed. I'll go around each individual panel, and the entire door will be drying for the afternoon. So my gel staining my door job is all done, and now it's time to work on getting it hung and in place. We all need helps and tips to get jobs done, fix our mistakes, and get through our days. I hope this helped you. Remember to give a thumbs up down below, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.